been a long time. Of the videos I've made of personal nature, dealing with people who've passed away, a lot of the ones I've talked about are ones that affected me throughout teenage years and beyond. So, very, very few times I talk about anything that affected me on a personal level from the time of being a kid. This is that exception. Kevin Conroy to me wasn't just one of the voices of Batman. He was, is, and always will be Batman to me. When I hear Batman's voice in my mind, all due respect to Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, uh, Christian Bale, Robert Pattinson, all due respect to Ben Affleck, and all these, and the myriad of voice actors who have done it since then. I think Bruce Greenwood, was in Batman Under the Red Hood, and I forget who did it for the DC animated movie series with that started with Justice League War and and all those movies and everything. I forget so forgive me for that. Sorry about that. But to me, none of that would have been a thing without Kevin Conroy. I really feel like the success of the DC animated universe, which started with Batman the animated series back in the '90s, was really because of Kevin. Yeah. Let's also be honest. The storytelling in the Batman Beyond cartoons way ahead of its time for any kind of kids show. It was so good that Disney had commissioned gargoyles be made in response. That's how good the Batman and its animated series was. And there have been great Batmans. I mentioned the movies. I mentioned there's the Batman series that came out that lasted about 5 seasons that retold Bruce really coming into his own as Batman and everything. But it was something about the animated series, man. It was something about it that made it special. Not just storytelling, but it was the acting that came to it. And a lot of it really does come down to Kevin Conroy. Of course, he had that amazing cast he worked with. Mark Hamill as the Joker. Come on, man. Mark Hamill was still like the quintessential Joker to me. That show, that whole series was so groundbreaking because the storytelling was there, but the storytelling wouldn't have been half as recognized if the actors didn't put their heart and soul into it. Kevin Conroy was Batman, even if he only ever played a live action Batman once, and that was in the CW Infinite Crisis crossover. And whoever made that decision to let him do that just one time, thank you, because he got to be a live action Batman and Bruce Wayne just once, and that's all most of us ever wanted. I remember always wanting to get home in time to watch it. You know, I remember always watching the reruns. I remember, and then of course when the DVDs came out, I never did. I know that the whole series is on DVD. I know it's on HBO Max. I've been rewatching it there, but I would like the DVD because that's just how I am. I like to get the DVDs, but um, it wasn't just one thing about his portrayal. It was all of it, and then you go from the Batman the animated series, then you get Batman Beyond, and anyone who knows me knows how much I love Batman Beyond. Um, when and little insight to my story writing process because of my Batman Beyond fan fictions. It is nearly impossible for me to do a story that doesn't involve in some way Terry having to deal with Bruce's attitude. Because that was one of the best things about the show was their dynamic. was Terry being such a hothead and Bruce being such a mentor to him and everything like that. And of course, you learn later. It's major spoiler. You know what? I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it. But if you guys have ever seen the Batman Beyond, the Justice League episode epilogue, you know what I'm referring to when you learn about more about Terry and Bruce and who they are to each other. Which I thought was really cool twist. I thought when you watch that, there was a theory I heard years before that episode was ever even a thing, before Justice League was ever a thing, that someone said that on like a forum randomly online. I remember reading that when I was a teenager, or younger actually, probably. No, because I didn't really have internet until I was a teenager, and I don't think so. I don't think. But anyway, that mentioned the theory of their relationship, and I didn't really put much merit behind that. I was like, "There's no way that that's a thing." And then when they explained it, it made a lot of sense, and I really think it added a lot. I wish they would have had the show keep going with that as a thing. I want, of course, the fact that Batman Beyond ever ended makes me sad. Also makes me sad is the fact that Terry didn't end up with Max. That's a whole other video for a whole other day. Um, yeah. Getting to meet Kevin Conroy was a great experience because of how humble and kind he was. This man was the hero to a generation. And don't let anybody fool you. A lot of people can have their favorite Batman, but those of us who love the animated series, those of us who loved that cartoon, who watched it every week, who watched Justice League, who played the Batman Arkham games, who watched whatever animated video movie he was doing where he was Batman. Kevin Conroy is our Batman. He's and like I said, all due respect to everyone else who's ever portrayed the Dark Knight, Kevin Conroy is number one, man. I guess one reason it hits me so hard is because that was a voice in my childhood. There were a lot, Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, Frank Welker as Megatron, the voice actors for like Thundercats, Ninja Turtles, Ronin Warriors, Sailor Moon. These were this that was the soundtrack of my life, of my growing up at the time. That's why it's also kind of still weird to this day to hear the Funimation dub of Dragon Ball Z as opposed to like the Ocean Group dub, because the Ocean Group is what I grew up with originally. So the original Over 9,000 clip, that's was the Dragon Ball Z I was raised on at first. It was really weird when they switched it to the Funimation dub on Toonami, because I was like, oh man, these voices sound weird. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And then I learned the company changed. Of course, I didn't learn it for like years later, because what did I know? I was a kid. I was just watching cool cartoons. Um, yeah. But honestly, though, there are a lot of influences I have as far as what got my imagination going. Batman's always been one of them. And I know people always have their jokes about Batman and everything, but when you have a guy like Kevin Conroy voicing Batman, nah, man, he's the coolest hero. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no debate, no argue. He's the coolest hero. Like I got like a few of my Batman comics up there that I reread all the time. Batman and Long Halloween is one of my all-time favorite stories. And I don't even know if I can single out one single episode of Batman the Animated Series as my favorite, because I could just watch all of it and be like, man, this is a great series, man. Dang it. Yeah, I just decided to film this real quick. Look, I know I look a mess. I know you guys haven't seen me on this this channel in a while, and I'm just looking a mess. But I just had to talk about Kevin Conroy, man. I couldn't let any more time pass and not just discuss how awesome he was as a actor and as a human being. Yeah, because he did a lot of humanitarian stuff. Go look it up. It's everywhere right now. He was a really great guy. Super super nice. The picture on my social media with me and him is I got to tell his line was ridiculously long, as it should have been, and he was still taking time to talk to people, you know, because he was just that sweet a guy, you know. Yeah, yeah. Uh, so it's Kevin Conroy. Thanks for everything. Thanks for being our hero. Thanks for being our Batman. Later.